Hello and welcome to another episode of World Explorers, where this week Isaac and Cassie take a look at the afterlife in a world where ghosts aid the living in order to get into heaven, or risk having their soul cease to exist. Also, it turned Christmas themed somehow. Hello everyone! Welcome back to World Explorers, the podcast where we build a world out of a prompt. These worlds can be psychological horrors, they could be fantasy, they can be the weirdest thing you've ever heard of. Usually they're a good mix of them, and you never know where you're gonna go, because we always end up in a place you don't expect, but it's a fun time getting there, so yeah, and I'm joined as always by Isaac,
You say it's a fun time getting there, but
I
the
think so.
one that I've come up with for us today is a little bit more on the depressing side.
Depression's fun, in my opinion. So I'm ready for it.
Okay, so I was thinking, what if when you die, you have the option. You have one of two options. One is you go to the afterlife,
Mm-hmm.
and the other is you stay in sort of this space between the afterlife and the previous life where not much is going on, but you are able to view people who are still alive, and you can sort of watch. You just sort of watch them go through their lives. So basically, what this would be is you have the option to go to the afterlife. But if you're not ready to let go of your children who you are leaving behind, you are welcome to stay and watch.
The question: can we go to the afterlife whenever we want?
I think so.
Yeah, because once your kids die and your grandkids die, and then you've seen the end of your entire family line, and you're all depressed. You're like, well, there's nothing for me there now. I'm ready to go.
Yes, but I was thinking, what happens when somebody gets attached to their grandchildren's grandchildren?
I mean, you just keep watching, right?
Yeah, you keep on watching for all eternity, unable to interact with them.
Yeah, I could see how that could be depressing. But then again, we kind of do something like that in the sense that we watch a bunch of movies and read a bunch of books and listen to podcasts like this where we create worlds that we can't actually interact with and we get attached to and we waste all our lives on it, you know, and money and resources and time. And we will never actually truly interact with it.
I'm not sure where else to go with this. I was hoping that maybe this would become mind-bendy, like it was the start of a mind-bendy episode, because that's what we promised last week. And
yeah.
It doesn't seem to be going there.
Okay, let me see if I could think of something mind-bendy for a prompt.
We could totally just restart and come up with a different world.
Yeah, as fun as Afterlife is, there's not much to, build off of it.
There wasn't much to build off of ice, and yet we found a way to do it.
Well, yeah, true. I mean, we could go with the idea, so, do you know the not the Disney version, but the real story of Ariel?
You mean the original Little Mermaid story?
Yeah.
Where the feeling of having your tail split into two legs was like having a sword cut down your body?
Yeah, every time you walk.
Yeah, right? I'm familiar with that.
Except, guess what? You don't have your voice, but you know what you're good at? Dancing. Do you know what it takes to dance? A lot of moving of the feet. Do you know what she had to do? She had to sneak off to empty her shoes of blood. But no, that's not the part I'm talking about. The part I'm referring to is the ending. So in the original, the Hans Christian Andersen version, she doesn't get the prince. Alright, the prince marries someone else. And she now has to give away her soul to the Sea Witch. The Sea Witch also isn't that bad in the original, just saying. But her sisters come along and say, hey, we traded all of our hair, chopped up all our hair so you could come back and be a mermaid. It's a really heartfelt moment. All you have to do is kill the prince to do it. and you can get your tail back. She refuses. She still loves him. She doesn't want to do it, so instead she throws herself into the sea, and then she is transformed into a wind spirit, and she meets up with a bunch of other wind spirits, and the wind spirits tell her, you want to have a human soul and like go to the afterlife and live forever in heaven, which is mermaids apparently couldn't do. They just ceased to exist. So the whole reason she wanted to be human was not to marry a prince. It was so she could have a soul, and the only way she could get one was by marrying the prince. Just so you know, like, there's no true love there. They said, so we go around, and how this works is every good child we find takes a day off our 100-year sentence. Every bad child we find adds another year. And so we go around finding newborn children in hopes that they'll become good children, so that way our sentence ends and we can then gain our human soul.
So when a human dies, that human does not have a human soul?
No, the human has a human soul. No, a mermaid. When a mermaid dies, they don't have a human.
Okay,
they
when
don't
a
have a soul.
mermaid dies, okay.
Yeah, they cease
but
to
she
exist.
was a human when she died. She wants to
No, she wasn't fully
Okay.
human yet. She had to
Okay,
marry
anyway,
the
so where were
prince
you
to
going
become
with
fully
this?
human. I'm saying, like, and there's an interesting, like, afterlife there where someone has, instead, when you die, you now have to earn your soul, in a way. Like, humans don't, in this world, humans don't actually have souls. And if they want to live for eternity, they have to earn it once they die.
I guess so. I'm trying to think of how this is mind-bendy.
I mean, it might not be mind-bending. We might just have to give up on that hope and just roll with what we got.
Yeah, another thing I thought about was maybe it is possible to interact with the living, but it's forbidden. Now, what would happen if you were to interact with them? I'm not sure. It's just having you are forbidden to interact with normal people or plot line is always interesting.
Yeah,
And then someone does it.
Yeah.
Again, The Little Mermaid.
Well, yeah. Except, so, who's, like, running this, then?
I'm gonna say Lord of the Void.
Well, okay, so is the Lord of the Void just in charge of the void then? Not the afterlife, just the void?
Yeah, just the Void realm.
So I think an interesting way we could like build off this concept, instead of interacting with humans being forbidden, it's almost required to get in the afterlife. So in another book example we could go off of kinda is the Christmas Carol, and how the ghosts, whatever life they lived, is reflected in their ghost form, usually involving a lot of chains. So in their afterlife, they have to do something related to what they did in the past in order to enter into the afterlife.
Okay. So so maybe these people who die have to go and find a living human that somewhat reflects them. But what would they do? What would their interactions have to be?
I mean, it depends if we want to keep this in, like, something possible that could be happening in the real world today, or if we want to say this is a completely different world where this is normal. I think it's only interesting if we put in the real
world where this is normal.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we could do...
I was about to say, I feel like it's only, like, interesting to readers if it is the real world, and then they can, like, have that, ooh, this could actually be happening. Maybe they know something we don't. But the other having
we can go with that.
Yeah, but having it its own world, like a separate world, definitely makes it easier to do it. But I don't know, if it's in this world, we have like rules where they have to do their tasks, but they can't let the people know that they're doing it. Like if the people find out, then they failed, and I guess I don't know, they cease to exist. Is the horrifying consequence of failing is that you're no longer are. Or is that a little too morbid?
It might be, I don't know. For some reason, I'm just not feeling super engaged with this world.
Well, it's
normally I'm super engaged. This one, I'm just like, yeah.
Well, it's still a baby world. We gotta figure our way. Think of something like interesting you can add that would engage you more.
Uh, the void has a giant iPhone that you can swipe up and down on to scroll through people's lives.
Is this our mission picker? Is a giant iPhone? Can we
Um,
can we go tablet like thingy? Television screen, touch screen, like
okay.
something a bit more
I was thinking the
vague.
size of the Empire State Building.
Okay, that's a little too Percy Jackson. Let's back away. Uh, so so now they have a contraption thing where they scroll through to pick their mission. I mean,
Yeah, it's like a bunch of bounty hunters in Star Wars, and they're scrolling through looking for people to hunt down.
yeah, but they're limited in their choices according to the life they lived. Which,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I guess we could do an example person of how this would work. So, do we want to have a horribly horrible person who came in, or a half decent person, or a way too good person, or what?
Let's have a horrible, horrible person because that's always more interesting, and hopefully we don't end up mirroring too much of Charles Dickens.
I mean, we're gonna probably. Anyways, no, this is different. This is if instead of Mr. This is Marley's point of view. Marley? Is it Marley? Marley's the ghost name, right? It starts with an M.
I don't remember.
I feel horrible if it's not Marley, but I'm gonna say it's Marley, and if I'm wrong, correct me. This is like Marley's point of view. Marley was sent to go help Scrooge, except in this case, it's if Marley wasn't allowed to reveal himself to Scrooge.
Yeah, pretty much. But if he, okay, so let's say I'm trying to think. Let's say Marley. In this case, Marley wasn't allowed to reveal himself to Scrooge. Uh, I forget. Are they able to interact at all?
So the whole point is that they can't guess that this person's that there's a ghost. They just can't figure out there's a ghost there. The moment they're figured out that like some, I guess like angels are a thing they can feed off of and stuff. They just can't reveal themselves.
Oh, so maybe it's more like they can do ghostly things, like maybe shift stuff around the room. They just can't get caught doing it.
Exactly, yeah. And your entire being of existence is only online, so no pressure. That sounds terrifying. It's like you get this assignment, say, if you mess up even a little, you're just done. Not in the sense that you're dead or anything like that, but in the sense that you just stop existing.
Yeah, that's just slightly on the terrifying side. And then you ask, well, why do you do that? Because heaven's getting overcrowded.
Or the afterlife. I'm not sure if it's like, in this version it's something different just because, well, I guess this is a good screening process of getting rid of like the people. I mean, some people might even just want to not exist. Like they come in saying, you know what, I just want to cease to exist. I'm good. I don't want the afterlife. In which case they allow it.
Poof.
Yep, gone. And this puts out the people who just aren't going to be a contributing member of society in the afterlife. This helps screen those people out, because if you're not willing to contribute to this, then you're not going to contribute in the afterlife, so, might as well just stop existing. We already got the moral of the story. Be a productive member of society, or else you'll cease to exist.
That's pretty accurate.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's lots of good. This is definitely seems like a story that would have some good morals to it. I mean, so do we want to just go with the Marley example just for the fun of it? Like, kind of do something new and kind of just rewrite the Christmas story, but as an example of what this type of world would be like?
Yeah, that seems to be where we're going with this.
I'm pretty sure everyone listening has read the Christmas story. If not, we're about to spoil the heck out of it. Honestly, watch the Muppet
Christmas
version.
Carol.
You'll be fine.
Christmas story is different.
Christmas Carol.
Christmas story
and
Christmas Carol are two different things.
Like, what is the Christmas story? Is that just reference to the Christmas story?
Isn't the Christmas story the one with the boy with glasses? And I think he had a BB gun or something. And
I'm sorry, what?
I remember soap in the mouth.
What? You know what? Let's stick with the Christmas Carol. I have no clue what you're talking about, but it doesn't sound very Christmassy. Okay, but before we do that, we're gonna pause for a moment, and I'm gonna make sure that his name is actually Marley because he's the main character of our story, and I want to make sure his name is right. Marley, it is Marley. Look at me knowing things. Jacob Marley. I feel better. I feel better. I'm good. It is Marley. I'm not wrong. That's a random thing for me to remember. Is the name of the ghost that appears in one scene in the Christmas Carol. But okay. So Marley's our main character. Okay, so Marley has died, and he's gotten this mission. He's gone to his tablet thing, been fascinated about it because he's from a timeline where like that stuff doesn't exist. So plays about, tries to figure it out, struggles for a while, has to get help from the void person, and then finally sees the list and realizes that one of the top ones on it is to help Scrooge become more giving. I think like it's something really vague, like simply get Scrooge to give happily. So it doesn't have to last or anything like that. He just has to make it so Scrooge will give something of himself and be happy to do it. And that's it. That's his mission. Realizing
Become a selfless human being.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have to. It's this isn't these go. I feel like having the idea of completely change this person's personality completely and totally is a little much for a ghost who can't actually appear to them.
Yeah, maybe.
So but I think it's more like get these people on the right line. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm thinking what this is unlike the Christmas Carol, where he went and he gave him a big old warning, and then 3 other people came and also gave him a warning. It's just Marley going. Scrooge can't see him, and he's shifting a bunch of stuff around the room or
writing notes.
Writing notes,
trying to plan things for other people
into each other.
Yeah,
maybe pushing people into each other. Nobody knows what happened, but they know that they felt a push or they tripped or something, just to get people to start going in the direction he needs.
Yeah. So he sees Scrooge's name on this list thing. Thinks, you know what? This is someone who has a terrible life like I did. I don't know what happens when you get into the void that makes you realize what a terrible person you've been. Maybe they play your life on repeat and just point out all the bad things. Like you have a seminar where they just sit there and say, so you went wrong here, and it just keeps going until you feel sick and you wanna make things right or cease to exist. Depends. Both are valid options.
I could see that definitely making a lot of people want to cease to exist.
But I could also see it making a lot of people, and Marley might be one of those. We don't get much character development in the story. That would want to help realize what they've done and become a proper member of society. Because in this world, being a member of society isn't about like having things or getting money or having fun in life. It's about doing good and like being generous, and it's about giving to others and being more for others than yourself. Is what this afterlife qualifies as good stuff. And I guess the worse, like the more selfish you've been, the harder your assignments are. Which is why Marley has this extremely difficult one of to get Scrooge to give generously happily.
Well, I imagine a more horrible person might not care as much to get a more horrible person to be a nice person.
Well,
like you'll like this horrible person would be like just might say, this guy's not worth the effort. I'd rather cease to exist than spend his entire life accomplishing nothing.
In which case, that could be a thing. In which case, that person proves that he is unwilling to be selfless, even to save his own soul. And therefore, he loses it. So that kind of makes sense.
Okay.
But in Marley's case,
story over.
Well, for some people. But in Marley's case, he's rewatched the replay of his life, feels bad. They tell him about the specific mission for someone he knows personally, who he realizes is going down this bad path, and will also be shown a video full of regrets. And now he wants to get in the afterlife. He doesn't want his soul to die, and to do that, he's gonna go help Scrooge. He's decided he'll take it on. He wants to help him, so they send him off into the world to do that. So what would happen next? How would you convert Scrooge without showing yourself personally.
Oh, that's hard. I mean, the four people that showed up had trouble convincing him when they were actually showing what people thought of him and showing what he thought of other people.
Yeah.
Like, it actually just like outright telling him what the problems were, how to fix them. They still couldn't solve the problem. Okay, so the way you would have to do this is you would have to um, perhaps put Scrooge into the same position as the people who he's treating terribly. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like for example, these people say, "I have no food. I have no turkey dinner," and he's like, "Ah, bah humbug." And then he goes home to get his own turkey dinner, which has suspiciously been removed from the fridge and put out in the dumpster. Or better yet, it's been removed from the fridge and given to the family that didn't have a turkey dinner.
Yeah. I mean, that you gotta be careful. You don't want Scrooge to think someone's a thief, and then that'll just make him more bitter.
Okay, so you cover it in maggots.
Yeah, yeah, that would actually make more sense. Like,
He's still not going to be happy about that.
yeah, but at least he won't
He might
blame
become more
someone else.
bitter.
I mean, another way you could do it is so when you think about the Christmas Carol and how everything was done, uh, it was a lot based off of memories or being in certain places. So another way you can do this is just to put Scrooge in those positions that he was with the help of the ghosts. So, getting him, it's hard, it's difficult, it takes a lot of planning and scheming. But, Marley's been dead for a couple years. He's probably been planning this up for a while, like learning Christmas traditions and stuff to plan everything. And then he's like, okay, go time. It's finally time for this. So, like, for example, there's, I think is it his nephew who is, right? Nephew is the guy who throws the big party, the richer guy.
I don't know.
I don't either. It wasn't. Anyways, they throw that party, and the ghost of Christmas Present shows them all, talking smack about him and stuff like that. So instead of the ghost of presents showing them, Marley would have to convince Scrooge to go to the party, but be late to it, to the point where he kind of walks in and hears the eavesdropping of it.
Ah, that could definitely work.
Yeah, because it seems
There's
like something they
also,
do every Christmas, honestly. It seems like making fun of Scrooge is a Christmas tradition of theirs.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
Get it, and then afterwards, in his sadness, like nudging him along lanes until he comes to, oh, is it Timmy or Tommy? It starts with
Timmy.
Timmy. It's Timmy, and comes across them in their Christmas dinner and stuff. So it does mean that he can't have his like Christmas transformation before Christmas starts. Like, how he wakes up on Christmas and he's all happy. In this case, it'll be the day after Christmas when he has like the change of heart. But it's yeah, I don't think change of heart time wise is important as long as you have it
Yeah, as long as you get it done.
and it's legitimate and
Yeah.
genuine
Something
and
else that could happen is something like going back to the turkey thing.
Yeah.
He destroys the turkey, but then maybe that poor family who didn't have a turkey, he leaves a note in their name with a turkey, a fresh turkey for Scrooge, he's pretending that the turkey was from this poor family, who are maybe thanking Scrooge for being such a
good boss.
good boss, or giving it, or giving
They
wishing him
did.
Merry
He
Christmas.
did. He did give them
And so
that day
basically
off for Christmas.
yeah. So basically, yeah, and so he's like, thank you for giving me the day off, and and so he's like, oh wow, this is quite a big gesture, especially since I know that he couldn't afford a turkey for himself, but yet he managed to get me one.
Yeah.
And maybe while this is all going on, it's like either right before, right after, or even during. Marley would show Scrooge what an awful person he is,
Yeah.
while this guy is thanking him for being such a good person and giving him a gift that he should be able to afford.
Yeah.
And then he could just be like, "Oh, now I feel terrible."
In the same way with memory-wise, like bringing back old memories, I'm sure there are mementos somewhere or little things that'll help them remember. I think some advantage these ghosts get, like I believe the ghosts. Let's go to another Christmas story example. What's it called? Oh my gosh. Oh, it's my dad's favorite Christmas movie, and for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. We watch it every year. It's a Wonderful Life. There it is. Uh, why this is so Christmassy, I don't know. Let me apologize. Nah, I don't. It's Christmas is great. So in It's a Wonderful Life, um,
Like just starting fall.
Yeah.
Just
So
going into fall.
yeah. Well, we don't need to dwell on that. So in It's a Wonderful Life, Clarence is summoned by God and Joseph to a little meeting, and then Clarence gets to see the entire life of this person he is going to be sent to help, and so he knows everything about the background and can like help out better. I feel like these ghosts get that, like the person they decide to help, they get some background and stuff, so that way Marley now knows about these like past things, kind of like the Christmas past spirit knows about them, and also knows what like mementos to get or what things to like brush across his path that would remind. For all I know, he could go off and find that girl that Scrooge almost married and then didn't, and bring her in the story somehow.
Here's an idea. What if?
Yeah.
What if one of the things he needs to do, like to be able to get these little mementos, memories, and stuff, is he actually has to travel back to the void, maybe ask the Lord of the Void for help, for some kind of things that are special or unique to this person. I'm trying to think of a creative way that you could go about doing this.
I think the rule
this way it's not
is,
just I know everything. It's he's upset about this thing. I wonder why. Time to investigate.
Oh, that's actually a fun idea, that they have to figure out what's going on, and then they can ask the timekeeper. I think another idea for like mementos and stuff is, the rule is that they don't duplicate mementos. Like, these are the actual mementos, but sometimes you know how like things are lost in like but then they seem to like magically reappear. For example, I lost my I have a really nice bookmark. My mom got it from Guatemala a long time ago. It's got a little doll on it. And on my trip to California, well, I opened the car door and it had fallen out on a gas station, and I thought it was lost forever. And then somehow, while we were cleaning out the car when I returned from our trip, we found it in a pocket of the door, in a place it couldn't possibly have gotten to. Like, there's like no physical way for the bookmark to have fallen into it from where the bookmark was. We found it there, so it was found still. And it's like one of those moments like, how the heck? I thought I lost you at some random gas station in like the middle of Colorado. Yeah, and it's a really great moment, and we were all really excited and happy because I've had this bookmark for like 6 years, and it's been in every single book I've read. So like, it was a big deal to see it again. But you know, things like that happening, they happen in real life, so it wouldn't be a far-fetched for something like crazy like that to happen. And here, so for example, maybe this I'm bringing back the girlfriend because I feel like she wasn't utilized in the Christmas Carol enough for my liking. Maybe she wore something that Scrooge has like a very fond memory of, like associates with her, and she may, let's say, be dead or something. Bring the mood back down. But this memento of hers is probably like buried with her or something, which means that Marley has permission to go and get it and bring it to Scrooge somehow, whether maybe by a note or something, like claiming she just passed away recently, but she left this to him in the will to bring like back memories of her and stuff, and doing things like that, I think, is something that the ghost could definitely do.
Yeah, I am totally down with that.
Yeah, but I do agree, the idea of them having to find out what those things are themselves through like investigation is better than just getting the background story.
Yeah, now what's to stop them from going to the Void, asking the Void, the Lord of the Void, hey, answer me this question. Is it maybe this I feel like I need a shorter name than Lord of the Void.
Boydie?
You could go with timekeeper. That's what you said.
Boydie.
Lordy.
Just Boydie.
Voidy.
Just Boydie. I like
Voidy,
Boydie.
Voidy, Voidy.
Yeah. Well, don't say it fast. That sounds weird. But anyways, Boydie. They go to Boydie.
Okay, so they go to Voidy and maybe um
Keep going.
so they go to Voidy and maybe they say something like, "Hey, he brought up this person from his past. Who was this person?" And then Voidy's all like, I will tell you nothing, but instead I will give you a key to go through this door that will lead you to his past. And you can view it for yourself."
I mean, yeah, that could be a thing. Like, they just have to get the keyword, and then Boydie just has... He knows when they put in the work or not. Because, he knows these things. So, he can,
Voidy's always watching you.
He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you... Okay. Anyways, what? This is a Christmas-themed episode, alright? So he would be able to know if these people put in the proper work to justify him giving them the information that they couldn't possibly get without help. Like, he knows they need help to get it. So, I think that's the rule. If he knows they could get the information easily without his help, he won't give it to them. But if he knows, like, there's no other way without him giving some aid, then he'll give them the help they need. Like, the whole goal here is just to prove that these people can be selfless and, like, want to commit to help other people. It's not supposed to be absolute torture. Because I feel like even if they fail, so say Marty does all this and Scrooge still refuses. Like, Scrooge is still Scrooge. Despite all this work, and then Scrooge ends up dying, and Marley's like heartbroken and stuff because he tried so hard. I still feel like the Voidy would be like, hey, you poured your heart and soul into this. You really wanted this. You wanted to do something good for him. Come to the afterlife.
I think that would. I think that's good.
Also, it's a fun ending, like a surprise ending.
But, well, maybe, because then you've also got the point where it's like it was like the reader's like feels like even though he did earn it, he didn't accomplish the task that we expected him to have. It might feel a little bit like Deus Ex Machina.
Well, yeah, but at the same time,
not a ton, but is somewhat enough that it might cause problems.
I mean, but then you just look at them and say, hey, look, it's about the personal journey sometimes. And
yeah, I think it might be better if like the person did actually end up.
I don't know, maybe some people want to be controversial.
Some people can be. If you want to, again, if you're listening and you want to write this story, go right ahead. If you want to be controversial, do it. Controversial topics grab people's attention.
They do. Controversial endings will have people talking about it for eternity.
And a lot of people will be screaming at you.
And some people will be like, huh. Never thought of it that way. Like the ending in Soul. I won't spoil
the
Soul.
Ending,
I won't spoil people on that. That's where. But okay, I think we should spend the last little bit of this podcast just expanding this beyond the Christmas Carol and showing that like the Christmas Carol was just our example in this world. So let's create for ourselves a completely new person.
All right, so let's name him Mario.
Mario?
Yes, Mario the Grump.
The Grump. So he's just a really grumpy person.
Yes, and he's Mario the Scottish Grump.
He's okay, whatever.
He lives in a castle.
Uh-huh.
He's very wealthy.
Uh-huh.
And a castle. He inherited all of this recently from his deceased Dutch great uncle that he never met.
Okay.
He is now, so he is now spending his life cooped up in his castle, being waited on hand and foot, and realizes he is actually no, he doesn't well, he realizes he is depressed, but he doesn't know what to do to not be depressed.
Okay.
And so he's sitting there going about his days, and he gets angrier and meaner as days go on because he feels more and more depressed because he's not doing anything with his life.
Yeah.
And then someone from the void shows up and is like, I am going to make you not depressed anymore by making you get off your butt and go and live your life rather than spend your days in luxury doing nothing.
So pretty much, bring happiness to this person in whatever.
Yes, it's going to be things like, I'm going to teach you maybe there's some joy in giving away uh, some of your riches that you've inherited, sharing them. Maybe you could go out and see what it's like to even do something as simple as go for a stroll. Maybe along the stroll you'll find your true love, and then you'll have something else worth living for. And then maybe after that, you'll have kids, and then you'll have even more to live for. And then eventually you'll die and go to the void and have to do this to somebody else.
I mean, this world definitely. I feel like if this was a true thing, our world would be a better place. If we had like little spirits
probably.
coming along and doing like a little helping people. Mind you,
Absolutely.
there are definitely not enough spirits for the people because for one, our population is growing, not shrinking. For two, we have people who are just deciding to end it all. So, this world almost feels like a little too like it could be real.
But you're going for like more of the worst of people, not the best of people. You're not going for like that guy who's just a bit of a bum who spends most of his time playing video games and eating potato chips on the couch.
Yeah,
You're
you're good.
going for people who are actually being horrible.
Yeah, yeah. And another thing like you could do for this person who this guy who's earned his castle. So maybe it's just something as simple as finding him like a hobby that does good for other people. Like maybe he's gardening becomes like this big passion for him and you introduce it to him and he starts creating these huge farms and then like donates the food and stuff.
I
Or
like
starts
that.
teaching like or discovers he likes teaching other people gardening and all of a sudden like he's interacting with other people and like teaching them this trade that they can use to feed themselves and better themselves too and it spreads and then they can meet his true love and have kids and all that stuff too. But yeah, that's kind of like where you can go with the story. I think this turned out a lot better once we mixed your prompt with the Little Mermaid.
Yeah, somewhere along those lines.
We found a way. Yeah. See, I told you it was just a baby world and it just needed a little bit of help. Worlds. We create worlds really quickly, and I'm impressed that we do it. Like I'm always once we're done with this world, I'm like, we did that in an hour. Nice, wait, yay us! Like virtual high five. But
Woo! Woo!
yeah. So I'm not surprised. The fact that this was the first world where it took us longer than like 5 seconds to hop on is honestly really impressive. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, it took us a while to actually get the ball rolling.
You guys don't know that because I edited most of it out, but there were like 2 minute long pauses. We just
I
like
mean, but
sat there.
even between those 2 minute long pauses, there was a lot of us just being, I don't know where to go with this.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? Let's talk about Little Mermaid for the next 10 minutes.
Let's talk about the
What
Christmas
else?
Carol for another 20
Yeah, let's go
minutes.
Christmas Carol, and then we're like, oh, we have a world now.
Exactly. It's amazing. And honestly, I think it was really fun this time to take an example from an actual book and then like rework it into our world just to kind of show the possibilities. And now, if you
This was
haven't read The Christmas Carol or watched any of the 2000 versions of it existing in the world, you should go do that. We suggest it. It's not as good as our
this
version, but it's still good.
this was not as mind bendy as I was expecting
But you know what? It was
or
still
planning.
refreshing though. Like it felt like a different type of world than
Yeah,
because it was a world still based in ours. And honestly, I could see like people buying into it if a book about this becomes really popular. Like believing this to be true, because we've got angels, but
yeah. I mean,
it
hey,
feeds off of
believe
that
people
idea.
believe that the weeping angels from Doctor Who are real. People panic about statues and say, "Keep looking at the statues. Don't look away."
Oh, it would not do well with this neighbor we have on the corner. It was a bit away, but like on our way to the grocer, we passed this house, and like like they looked like the weeping angels, kinda, and they were just all
Oh,
over her yard.
oh no.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. This is the type of person you could tell they had no clue what they had done. They probably never heard the name Doctor Who before. It was funny. But I think this is where we're going to end off. We've referenced a lot of media today. Just a lot. So let me know in the comments of YouTube or on like an Anchor voice chat thing how many of those references you got, if not all of them. Bonus points if you got all of them. And yeah, we'll see you next week where we're actually going to be doing a world building writing prompt thing. So it's our second one of those where we'll be talking about starting the story in writing wise and stuff. So, yay.
He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so he's going to try to make you good for your own sake.
The ending. No.
Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout, I'm telling you why. Marley is always watching.
It's not Marley, it's Voidy.
Voidy. But Voidy's watching Marley, who's watching
Yeah.
Scrooge. Who's then going to die and watch the Scottish guy in the Dutch castle
It's an endless
with a love of
loop.
gardening.
Just remember, kids, always just do good in life or else you'll cease to exist. Bye!